Good morning. Happy Wednesday. I'm gonna wait a minute for some people to join. Did I not turn on I did turn on my kitchen lights. Hold on, this light over here is a little bit too bright this morning, shining in my face. Morning, Karen. Just gonna wait for a few people to join. I have had a ton of messages asking me to make wonderful white blender bread because mine tends to come out, every time I've made it has come out light and big, or I shouldn't say light, it's still kind of dense, but light, nope, I just said it again, I'm not light, big, fluffy, bread-like. It's beautiful. It looks very wonderful white blender breadish. Mine comes out looking a lot like the picture in the book. A lot like. That's right. Karen Davis is watching for real, Lisa. And it only says it once. For some reason, if my phone is this way, it says Karen Davis is watching, Karen Davis is watching, Karen Davis is watching 1,000 times in a row. But if I put it this way, the comments work. Facebook. All right. So I can't make breakfast this morning because most of you know, because I've talked about it nonstop for days on end because I'm freaked right out, but that I have to have a colonoscopy tomorrow. So today is the day of fun. So here's my breakfast, my big tall glass of water. And I wake up in the morning, I cook with you guys and I eat because I know I need to get my metabolism going. But most mornings when I wake up, I'm not that hungry until like 10 o'clock. I could easily wait until 10 and start my day then with food. Most mornings. Of course, this morning my stomach is because, it can't eat. So it's growling like a madman. It's like grumbling at me. I'm like, naturally, I'm going to be hungry this morning when I wake up. I ate extra last night, even though I probably shouldn't have. I did. Just to make sure. I had a big old crossover. I had barbecue chicken with potatoes. Crossover never hurt no one. It's good for you. All right. Let's do this. So, wonderful white blender bread. It's super easy, but I find that it's extremely important to follow the instructions. You know that I like to just throw things in and make it just, make it happen. But with wonderful white blender bread, you need to follow the instructions. I'm going to make the cinnamon version because that's what I want to have in the house. I just had a loaf of WWBB and I like this bread, but it's not something I want to eat day after day after day after day. A loaf will last me a couple weeks. I keep it in the fridge and it lasts very well in there. And I just finished a loaf and I don't really want more right now. It's good bread, but it is not bread in the sense of bread, if you know what I'm saying. It is good. It has a really good flavor. It has a little bit of an eggy texture. It's a little spongy. It's not crazy strong eggy, but it's a little spongy. And I prefer it toasted. Like, I like to grill it in a pan and have grilled cheese or something on it. Then it's good, like, because it soaks up the flavor of like the butter and the cheese, and it is good that way. And I like to have a slice with just butter. It's good that way too. But to have it just like a plain cold sandwich, I don't love it that way. Could you eat the ones you made the other day, day after day? Yes. The buns? Yeah, Tracy, I could. They're already gone. I ate them all. I do like those. The inside of those is a little bit eggy, and they're small. They're not, they're like that thick. And when you slice them open, I grill them every time. I just throw them on the grill with a little bit of spray and let them toast up. And it kind of dries the bread out a little more to bready bread. It just dries it out. Those buns that I made are an excellent carrier for a sandwich. They make a to me, they're perfect for a sandwich. They're not huge. They're not too, they are small, but I just load it with fillings. I just fill it right up. So it's kind of this little bun and a great big burger, but I'm okay with that. It doesn't bother me. I think I can have water. I hope so. Well, I've only had one sip, but let's read this. One day before your colonoscopy, which is today. Do not drink any solid foods. Drink clear liquids only. And then they give a list of clear liquids. Yeah. And then at about 11 this morning, I get to start them. Listen, this is way oversharing, but I'm going to say it anyway. Whoops. Well, that's a good look. Do you like that? Hold on. There we go. Oh, I just shut my comments off. Honest to Pete. I'm so bad at life. Come on, get over there. What was I going to say? I don't know. I don't know. I was going to say that one time, I can't even believe I'm going to tell you guys this. But why not? I tell you everything else. One time I had a need to take a Dulcolax. I had never taken Dulcolax in my life. Well, let me just tell you, a half a Dulcolax did its job. I get to take 3 this morning and then 3 more at bedtime. In amidst a gigantor bottle of Miralax. It's gonna be so much fun. I can't wait. All right. I've read that, Susan. That's a good idea, is to get one of those little, do you think you could make it somehow into bread, like squares or sandwich thins? You definitely could. I know they have some, like she just said, that are shaped like sandwich, but I can use these. I have these silicone pans, and you could definitely put the WWBB in there. You could definitely do that, and then you would get little like burger buns, little sandwich thins. They'd be more like sandwich thins, and that's what those other ones remind me of, because they're kind of fluffier than a sandwich thin, but they're not huge. I like them. I like them. All right, let's get on with this. So 1.5 cups of egg whites. It says to put everything right in the blender, which is what I do. All right, let me take a step back here. I preheated my oven, which it told me to do. It says to use as straight-sided of a pan as possible. I bought this pan, and so this one has holes in the bottom for steam because it's a covered bread pan, but I have to put parchment down because otherwise my WWBB would seep out the bottom. But just find a pan. I found that the metal pan, does it even say to use, it doesn't say here if you have to use, oh no, it says glass loaf pan. But this is what I use, and it comes out really well. So this is like I can't remember what they call this, but it has a cover that go on it to make perfectly square bread when you're making actual bread. I tried WWBB in this one time. With the cover on, and I quickly learned that it will explode if you do that. So don't do it. It's not a good idea. It will blow if you put a cover on top of this. So I learned the hard way. So anyway, this is the pan I use, super straight sides. I think that this texture helps it rise because it gives it something to stick to on the sides. All right. The other thing that I'm going to do is I put yeast in my I almost forgot that. I just brain cramped a little bit. I put the the instant yeast. Where is my instant yeast? This is not the quick rise, but it's going to do the same thing that I need it to do. I would recommend using the quick rise. I'm all out. This is my regular old cinnamon roll yeast that I use when I make big old batches of cinnamon rolls for the fam. So this does not call for yeast, this recipe, but I like to add the yeast. I think it helps it rise a little bit, but it's the flavor. It gives it more of a bread flavor. It's, you know, it's bread. So here's what I do. I gotta look at this thing and remember now. I just bloom it, yes. I just bloom it a tablespoon of yeast in 3 tablespoons of hot water. That's what I do. Just a little bit. This is what happens. There's a hairbrush in my sink. I have no idea why, but I assume it's my 13-year-old daughter, and not that my husband was out here brushing his beard with my hairbrush. I'm assuming it was Marin. For some odd reason, she has her hairbrush in the sink. That looks like you're hot. Susan, my cinnamon rolls are like this big. I don't think that I could THMify those, to be honest. Maybe with sourdough, but those babies get hot. My water's not heating up for some reason this morning. Of course, because I'm on camera. I better check the temp of my water. I just want to make sure it's around between 105 and 110 is good. It's only 102. Gotta be. Whoop. All right, 110, good, 108, 109, whatever. So 3 tablespoons of your water. I don't know, so I'm no pro. Let's just say that. We all know I ain't no professional. I don't know. It might say on here the temp the water needs to be. Oh yeah, 100 to 110. Tablespoon into 3 tablespoons of water. But when I make regular cinnamon rolls, gigantor human head size cinnamon rolls, I'm very specific. It took me a long time to perfect white bread, and I'm very, very, very specific with my temp. I make sure that it is exactly 110 degrees before I put my yeast in. It makes a big difference. All right, I'm gonna set that aside to bloom for a few minutes. It doesn't have to be this major blooming event. I'm more wanting it for a little bit of rise, but a whole lot of flavor. So, okay. It says to spray your pan liberally. I'm gonna wait and do that before I put this stuff in. Susan, that book, let me just show you how beautiful this book is. This is her book, okay, that you're talking about. I think this is the one you're talking about. Glenda Groff's Around the Family Table book. This section, it's color-coded. So this section in the front is all about sourdough. That whole section teaches you everything you need to know, anything you can imagine, and a whole bunch of recipes for sourdough. But this section is 100% other recipes that are THM compliant. And let me just tell you, there are some amazing recipes in this woman's book. She can cook. the recipes are so detailed, and at the end of each section she has helpful hints like this. Helpful baking hints. Have all your ingredients at room temperature. It makes baking a success. Like, look at some of these recipes. Look at this cranberry pie. Look at that. And they're all THM. Worth every penny. I have read through it. Like, I've made 4 or 5 recipes out of it, and I keep saying, I need to make more, I need to make more, I need to make more, because she has got some really good stuff in there. And she's got them all labeled as healthy fats or healthy carbs. No, Tracy, I get it right from her blog, right from Around the Family Table. She sells it right there, and I bought it when I bought my sourdough starter from her. So, all right, bread. Everybody's waiting on bread. My blender has wicked water spots. My water, look how bad it looks. It is clean, but I think my water softener needs to be adjusted because everything I'm washing lately is covered in terrible water spots. Madison, it's not that hard. If you can get a starter from somebody like Glenda, then this thing, I need to figure something out because you can't see. All right. If you can get the starter from someone like Glenda and let it grow from there, you'll be good. Lori, that's the Around the Family Table one. We were just talking about sourdough for a minute. And it's a great cookbook. I was just showing them. All right. So everything's going to go in here. Egg white and xanthan gum in the blender. So 1.5 cup of egg whites, and you can use carton or fresh. I've got carton and fresh because I don't have a whole 1.5 cups of egg whites. I have just under a cup. So I'm going to use a combination of the two. I've done this before. It has not ever made a difference whether I use fresh egg whites or boxed. It's never made a stitch of difference. Get that dog hair off my shirt before it ends up in my bread. I mean, there's probably going to be a dog hair in this anyway because that's what happens to me. But well, there's 1 cup. Perfect. That brought that right up to 1 cup. I hate to throw those away, but I don't have a need for them today, so it is what it is. Is that a hair? Oh no, it's just, no. Can you imagine if like the Pioneer Woman or Rachel Ray were like, oh look, there's a hair. Let me pull out the hair. I grew up with dogs. There was hair everywhere. If your food didn't have hair in it, it wasn't homemade. It's the same way it is in this house. We had a Shih Tzu for many, many, many years. And there was never any hair anywhere. But this golden retriever, different story. All right, there's a cup. And I need 1/2 cup. And I think that's probably going to be about 3 eggs is going to be my guess. I could make hollandaise out of this, but I tried making hollandaise ahead of time and it doesn't last. So it didn't last in the fridge. It broke. So unfortunately, I'll put them back in the case here, and then a week from now I'll open that egg thing and go, ew, who left egg yolks in here? That's nasty. I will throw them away, I promise. I think I was right. 3 is gonna do it. That is just under 1/2 cup. So I got 4 real egg whites and just under a cup of, is there anything nastier than a raw egg white? Ugh. All right, I will take care of that later. I promise you guys. I promise you guys. That's right, Mindy. Hair. Oh my gosh. Who said that? Diane. I did hair for a while. I went to cosmetology school and I did it for a while. I would come home and pick hair out of my bra. I'd be like, why is there this much hair inside my bra? I didn't shove all that hair down my bra. It would be in my teeth. Ugh. Yes, that's right, Tracy. I forgot. I do. If you use my link tree, which is right on this Facebook page, under the About section, if you click on that, there is a link to the cappuccino mix from All Around the Family Table that I drink all the time. And that will take you right to her site. Genius. All right. Egg whites and xanthan gum. So half a teaspoon of xanthan. So people ask me if Glucki is interchangeable with xanthan. Many, many, many people have made this recipe and said it is. However, I have not done it with Glucki. And then people ask me why mine rises so good and looks so good. I don't know if it has anything to do with the xanthan gum. So I don't want to recommend you use Glucki and then have your bread come out crappy. So don't. Just use xanthan gum. Go buy some xanthan gum. It's dirt cheap. All right, what did I do with the cover to my blender? Well, this is interesting. Where's my blender cover? It's right here in front of my face. All right, it says in the instructions, and I follow these to the T, 1 minute until thickened and frothy. I ignore the thickened and frothy because I'm paying attention to the 1 minute because that's what it says to do. So that's what I'm doing. And I like to be a good instruction follower. So I put it on high for 1 minute. Let her go. Everything gets mixed up in there, but like I said, I'm going to make the cinnamon version this morning. See my yeast? It's getting nice and frothy. Right, nice and yeasty. Yeasty. That smells terrible. So I know I have it right. All right. Blend for 1 minute. Add all the other ingredients and blend well for another minute. Okay, so all the other, I just got egg white in my hair. All right. Don't touch your head while you're cooking. My mother always says, you touch your head too much while you're cooking. Stop touching your head while you're cooking. I can't help it. I'm a head toucher. All right, 3/4 cup of whey protein. I put a half cup, and then I put some oat fiber, because that's what I want to do. So, nope, not vanilla. Nope, not chocolate. Nope, not strawberry. Where is it? Where's my whey protein? Did I eat it all? I have another bag. I know I do. Oh my word, where's my whey? No way. Literally, no way. Okay, you guys, my whey is downstairs in the basement. I gotta go get it. Nobody go away. And we're back. All right. New bag away. Love a fresh bag. All right. I said that wrong. It's not the whey that I replace, it's the baking blend. So back up if you're writing this down, which you're probably not. 3/4 cup of whey is what it calls for. It's the whey. Whey I do not replace. It's the baking blend. I'm glad I read ahead because I almost got that wrong. So 3/4 cup of whey. And a cup of baking blend. So this is where I do a 1/2 cup because I'm not a big lover of the flavor of baking blend. It's not my favorite. It works awesome. It's the coconut, I think. It's good. It's better than the homemade low carb flours. I'm just not a big fan of the low carb flour flavor in general. So I put a 1/2 cup instead of the whole cup it asks for. And then I put a 1/2 cup of oat fiber, which is right here. And I didn't put the air out of that. So, all right. So then 1/2 cup of oat fiber. I think it gives it a little bit drier texture to me, which is good in this case, and I just like oat fiber. So there's a 1/2 cup of oat fiber. All right, 1 cup of Greek yogurt or cottage cheese. I have made it with the cottage cheese, and I haven't noticed any difference. But as a rule, I tend to make it with the Greek yogurt because I just usually have more of it available. I usually have a ton of it in my fridge. So, a cup of Greek yogurt. I use this brand usually, the Chobani, because it's what's at the commissary for the cheapest, and I like it. I think it's got a decent flavor. The generic brand, to me, it's got a little bit of it's a little too tangy. I like this one though. All right. So there's a cup of Greek yogurt. All right, what else? Greek yogurt. 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder. That's how we call it. That's what we call it up here. Where's my... All right, I got a 1/2 teaspoon right here. It's not baking powder, it's bacon powder. If you want to sound like you're from Maine, don't call it baking powder, call it bacon powder. All right. The cottage cheese I use is whatever's on sale. I heard the Daisy is the best, but I buy whatever's cheapest. That's just how I do things. Mama's got to save some money. All right, there's 2 teaspoons. And there's a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. I always look at it again a second time to make sure I didn't put the wrong ingredient in. Well, if I did, at this point, I'm kind of out of luck. So I don't know why I do that. Teaspoon of super sweet. Super sweet. Teaspoon. And 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I'm running low on my THM mineral salt. I need to buy some more. 1/2 teaspoon of salt. All right, and this is where I throw in my yeasty yeast. Where did my spatula go? Right, all right. And that's where I put in my bloomed, fluffy pile of yeast. That's it. Add all ingredients. Whew, that yeast is strong. Holy moly. All right. Add all the other ingredients. Blend well for another minute or so. Come on, THM ladies. KJ needs specifics. I always do 1 minute. that or so is in there because, you know, everybody's got different blenders. If you're working with a, you know, a blender with a motor the size of a Mustang, then it probably is only going to take a minute. If you're working with a blender that doesn't move quite as quickly, you might want to go a little bit longer than a minute. But in this case, I go exactly 1 minute and it comes out very battery. Is that a word? Battery? Well, it is, but not in the sense that I mean in the sense of battery. Batter, dash, Y. Batter. Perfect. That's it. There's my batter. Easy. Easy peasy. It should not be hard. This bread, I've never had trouble with it coming out anything but. Well, I don't want to cook that in there. See, I knew it was going too well. Oy. Can I just do one video? Oh, listen to my stupid stomach growl. Knock it off. That is gonna be annoying. I am hungry as all get out, and it's only because I can't eat. It's not like I'm gonna starve to death, but just because I know I can't eat, my stomach is. All right. So that's it. There's my batter. Now I'm gonna turn the page over to my. That, if you're wondering, is Trim Healthy Table 242. Now the cinnamon version should be somewhere. That is very warm. That blender blows my mind. It like heats it right up. No, you're right, Tracy. It wouldn't be cooking with KJ if I didn't knock something off the counter or. At least I noticed it, because it would be just like me to slice open a loaf of this WWBB tomorrow and find a cover to my blender. It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't be the worst thing I found in one of my recipes. All right. So the cinnamon version, we're just gonna pour a quarter in, top it with cinnamon and sugar sweetener. Pour a quarter in, top it with cinnamon sweetener. Just gonna layer it. So it's just like regular BB, but not. Where's my pan? Right here. So here's my pan. Again, I feel like this, there. This is the pan I use. Again, it's very straight-sided, which, Amy, that is totally something I've done. That's what I have cooked a spoon into a meal one time. I also cooked the butthole of a turkey once at Thanksgiving because I didn't know it was a butthole. My mother-in-law goes, you know this is the backside of the turkey, right? You don't need to cook this. I'm like, no, I didn't know that. But it's always best that if somebody finds your cooking errors, that it's your mother-in-law. Am I right? Yeah, I would. I'd go to use my blender and be like, what the heck? I'd order a new one. All right. I love that sound of perfectly ripped parchment. All right. Of course I did it wrong. Of course I did. Of course I didn't do it wide enough. Well, why would I? I just was gonna fold it, but it's like an inch too short. So I'm gonna have to do it this way, and it's a little bit too wide. I don't want it all the way up the sides of my, I wanna try to fit it into the bottom of my pan. nicely. I don't want it crawling way up the sides. Why? I don't, just because I'm OCD, all right? That's why. There's no good reason. Other than I want to be a little bit OCD about it. I could have just traced out the bottom and measured it based on the size of the pan, but that would have been logic, and I don't follow logic. Perfect. See how easy that was? All right, I spray the bottom of my pan under my parchment too, because a tiny bit, it helps the parchment stick. I don't know if you need to do it, but I don't want my batter, a little more than that. I don't want my batter going under my parchment because I have holes in the bottom of my pan, steam holes, and I don't want batter dripping out all over my stove. All right, then if I remember right, you spray the pan well. I can't remember, I have to look. Do you spray the pan? Preheat, yes. Preheat oven to 350. Oh, spray. I missed the whole word spray. All right, yes. I thought so. I spray it well. I probably spray it too well, but it's okay. It's what I do. I overdo things. I overcompensate. All right, quarter of the batter going in. It's starting to come up, separate a little bit. So, see how it's kind of yellow? It's because I added that yeast. Gentle sweet. I think that's what it called for, right? 3 tablespoons of gentle sweet and cinnamon for a liberal sprinkling. Is it okay if I'm not a liberal and I use it? I mean, is it only for the liberals? I don't know. I think it's okay. All right, liberal sprinkling. So it just says, sprinkle extremely liberally with the cinnamon, meaning keep sprinkling until you get a good, well-covered dark layer. So, listen to my stomach grumble. Oh my word. Yes, sprinkling of the cinnamon first. So I'm gonna put, just like they told me to, a liberal, I'm gonna call this my liberal loaf, which means my husband won't have anything to do with it. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. All right. He wouldn't have anything to do with it anyway. I need a different spoon for my gentle sweet because I don't want to stick my cinnamon in my gentle sweet. So I'm just getting an even layer of gentle sweet. This is 1 tablespoon in between each layer, so it's been a long time since I made this cinnamon version. I don't even remember what it tastes like. Probably cinnamon, but I don't remember. Another quarter of the batter. I shouldn't have heated my oven up first because I like to let this sit out before I cook it. That makes a big difference to me. I find that this makes a big difference to me. You thought I was gonna say I needed a new husband. I'll get that when he's gone. I mean, he's older than me, so at some point I'll get a different husband anyway, just by nature of things. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't get married again. All right. I'm totally kidding. Yeah. Nope, it says just to liberally spread the cinnamon and then spread the gentle sweet. It doesn't say mix it, right? Did I read it right? Yeah. Well, put one. Yep. Nope. Then sprinkle your gentle sweet. So no, you don't need to mix it together. I'm gonna aspirate this gentle sweet though. It's like puffing up. I'm breathing it in. All right. I barely have enough batter when I do this to cover the cinnamon layers. It says to do these multiple layers, but if I covered all this cinnamon and sweetener, with the next layer I would be out of batter, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. It's swirl. So it's gonna swirl together. And I want lots of cinnamon anyway, so, because this is gonna be really good with some butter on top, you guys. Yeah, it is. Yeah. All right. Sweetener. Cool. All right, and then the last layer. Why did I put my spatula over there? Why did I do that? That was stupid. Surprised I didn't lay it on the bare counter. Alright. Pour the rest of my batter on the top. So if I was just making plain old WBB, I'd have been done, you know. You just pour the whole thing in there. Obviously. But you could add some like rosemary, or add some dill and rosemary, add some whatever you want. Top it with, not to this. Don't put rosemary in your cinnamon bread because that would taste disgusting. So don't do that, you guys. But if you're making the plain WBB, you don't have to be boring. You don't have to leave it plain. Put whatever you want in there. Put some bagel seasoning on the top. Do it up. Nothing wrong with a little flavor. It's good for you. All right. Does it say to put any of this on the top? No. Okay, that's it. She done. This house is gonna smell like cinnamon amazingness. And I'm gonna be mad and annoyed that I can't eat it today. I'll eat it tomorrow though. I will. All right. That's it. I wanna show you the inside, but let's see, maybe if I tilt you, maybe if I do this. That's what it looks like. It looks like pound cake. Cinnamon swirl pound cake is what it looks like. All right. So the other key for me, I find, for making WWBB is I'm gonna sit it right over here and leave it alone for at least 30 minutes. I'm not gonna touch it. I'm not gonna put it in my oven. I'm not gonna do anything. That's where I carry garlic onion bread. You could put some garlic in that, not the cinnamon bread again. Let's not be putting onion or garlic with cinnamon, unless you're really bizarre. But you could chop up fresh onions and put it inside the bread and make like an onion bread. It might be a little wet with it. You might want to, like, I'm trying to think how the best way to do that would be. But you know the bagels that have the chopped up onions on top? What are those called? Onion bagels. The obvious, the onion bagels. Chop it up on top. I just might do that one of these times. I just got to thinking, if I made plain WWBB and put it in those bun things, shapers, and put onions on top of it, you wouldn't even have to use dried onions. Would be really good inside. But we have a bagel place here local called Bagel Central that makes the best bagels. They are everything you dream about in a bagel. And they chop up fresh onions and put it all over the top. And then there's black stuff. I'm assuming it's like black sesame seeds or something, maybe. Oh, what are those black seeds called? The little tiny, what are they called, you guys? The little black sprinkle seeds that are sometimes on top of stuff. Why? Thank you, Tracy. Poppy seeds. That's what they do. They chop up onions, put that on top, and then put poppy seeds. I am going to do that. That sounds brilliant. going. That, I'm doing that, you guys. I'm gonna do that. I might even do that this weekend. I might do that with those other low carb bread things that I made. That would be really good. Or I could do it on Glenda's sourdough bagels, because those things are the bomb. I still have some in my freezer. All right. So I'm gonna let that set for 30 minutes, and then I'm going to bake it exactly according to what it tells me to. And it says 40 minutes. If after 20 minutes the top of the bread looks like it's browning too much, put a piece of parchment over the top. Okay. Mine usually doesn't need that. Okay, bake it for 40 minutes. If after 20 it looks too brown, which mine never has. Some people say to put a baking sheet underneath your bread, because sometimes it comes over and flows onto the stove. I haven't had that happen. Not saying it won't, because it might, but I haven't had it happen. I've always stuck a pan under it just in case, but it has never flowed over for me. So I don't know. Here's hoping. Once the bread is out of the oven, allow it to sit a couple minutes and then remove it from the pan. I don't do that. So this is what I do. I take my bread out of the oven. I'll demonstrate. Pretend this is my bread pan. I take it out and I let it sit for about 2 minutes. And then I immediately put it up on its side in the pan like that. And I leave it for 15 minutes like that. And then 15 minutes later, I come over and I flop it to the other side and I leave it for 15 minutes. Then sometimes I take it out of the pan and put it on, you know, a grate, a rack. But I have found if it's still really hot, when you take it out and put it on the grate, you can start to see it sink. If it starts to sink at all, even a little bit, pick it up and put it back in that pan real quick. Put it right back in and leave it back on its side. Keep it on its side. It will not hurt if you do 15, 15, 15, and 15. Just let it cool completely back and forth. You don't want it on one side because it will flatten. So just do 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes. And that is gonna keep it from sinking in the middle, because you might get that. If you don't, you're gonna get that the sides will cave in a little and it'll flatten, and that's where you get that really weird shaped WWBB that you see a lot. It's still going to taste good, but Debbie, the sitting for 30 minutes, I have found that no matter what I am baking for Trim Healthy, no matter what it is, if it is a baked good at all that has any sort of baking powder, baking soda, yeast, anything, if you let it sit for 30 minutes minimum, some cakes I'll leave them sitting out for 2 hours. If you let it sit, there's something scientific, don't ask me what, because I don't know. There's something scientific that happens, and it totally changes the flavor of things. I think it soaks up, I don't know, but it works. Just trust me. I don't know, there's something in the baking blend that I don't know. I don't know if it's the flax that's in the baking blend expands with the liquid, maybe? I have no idea. All I know is it makes a huge difference in cakes. I mean huge. So do it. I have made regular Trim Healthy cakes and then turned around. I mean, well, the first time I did this, I used to make all the cakes and I was like, they're okay. They're kind of wet. They don't taste cakey. They're wet. But since I came back and I saw that trick, somebody had said, I don't know, somebody on Trim Healthy said to do it, and so I did it because I follow instructions. And once I started doing that, it made just a massive difference in my baked goods. Like, I can't even explain the difference. It just totally changes the texture. Makes it much more cake-like. So When in doubt, leave it out. Like on the counter. Don't leave an ingredient out. That sounded like a real thing. When in doubt, leave it out. And then I realized you might think I'm talking about an ingredient, and then your bread will be no good. Really, Andrea? You've never heard that? I see it on the Trim Healthy page. I'm sure there are a million tips going around that Trim Healthy page that I don't see. Because, you know, I don't have a million hours a day to watch it because there's so many things going around that page. But it does make a huge difference. Makes a big difference, especially in the Trimtastic cake. Everybody talked about how wonderful the Trimtastic cake was, and I'm like, ugh, I don't like it. It's wet. I started leaving it out on the counter. Man, I love that stuff, and I make it with I make a cookie dough frosting for it. I was gonna put chips. I was gonna put butterscotch chips in my bread, and I forgot. Shoot. Oh well, I'm not gonna swirl them in at this point and mess things up, but I took them out and left them sitting somewhere on purpose. Didn't I? I had these butterscotch chips. I was gonna put them in between the layers with my cinnamon sugar. Oh well, it's all right, next time. All right, you guys, that's it. I'll show you pictures when it comes out of the oven. And just all pray with me that it's not flat and all my tips are gone. I might do that, Charity, when it's almost cooked. When it's just about cooked, I might sprinkle a few on top. That'll probably be good. I'll wait till it's just about done before I do that so they don't get all weird. But, all right. I love you guys. Have a wonderful Wednesday. Stay on plan today. I'm going to stay on plan today with nothing but water. And maybe a taste or two of Jell-O. Ooh, delightful. Nice sugar-free Jell-O. Sounds like a great meal day to me. All right, you guys. I love you all. Have a very blessed Wednesday. Go make WWBB. Show me your pictures. Show me your WWBBs. That sounds totally inappropriate. Anyway. All right. I love you all. Have a great day. Stay on plan. Holler if you need to be talked off the ledge. Someone will do it. Me or someone else. You post and someone will talk you off the ledge. I can guarantee it. All right. I love you all. Have a great day.